Welcome to Activations with JJ, Ascension School Part 8. Today we will be talking about the energies on the planet of Venus, byproducts of our integrating light codes, and also remaining subconscious programming. Hello, my friends. I am so thrilled to have you with me today for another episode of my really fun, I think, Ascension School series. I am loving being able to teach you some of these things, not only things that other people have brought through and channeled, but just things that come to me that Spirit teaches me, and I feel like, hey, I want to share this. So today, that's kind of what this episode is made up of. There are just 3 things that have come out to me over the last few days. Some of them, actually, I think all of them were related to sessions I did, one-on-one sessions I did. And I felt like there were some things that were really applicable to everybody. And so I thought I would take a moment today to share those with you. So the first, I'm going to start out with something kind of fun. I had an experience with somebody, and I felt that we were bringing through some beings from Venus. And I actually think there were a few people in the last couple of weeks who have parallel or past lives on Venus. So I don't know if the planet of Venus resonates with you. I talk a little bit about Venusians in the different starseed races in one of my past Ascension schools. I can leave the link here. I remember that particular website I looked on because somebody had sort of written down, what Venus energy is like. And obviously we hear, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. That's grounded in something. The planet of Venus is home to some very high density beings. In fact, I did see them as the color of like a vapor that's the same color as the planet. And they are very loving, very feminine. And there was a little blurb about Hathor, one of the Egyptian goddesses, being from Venus. I believe it's a cow-shaped figure. And so those are just some things about the planet Venus. So I don't know a lot about Venus, and I don't know a lot about Venus star races because I honestly haven't connected with them very frequently. But wow, they've been coming through a ton. So I think they're ready to connect. In fact, when I get done recording this, I'm going to also record a Venusian transmission of light language and a message, I think. Something came through really cool in a client session, and I thought I'm going to bring that sort of same thing through for everybody. I think everybody in the collective, or at least my listeners, could use to hear from it. So here's kind of something fun I learned from my session. One of the things that came through to me, this is just something I saw as I was observing Venus because I was curious. And a lot of times when I'm working with different energies, I will ask to be shown things about that planet or things about that place. And as I did, I saw a lot of goddesses on the planet Venus. And the particular energy that I was connected to was not so much like a human form. It definitely had sort of more of an alien type interdimensional form. But I saw more human body type goddesses there, like Kuan Yin would be one example, or any of the Egyptian goddesses. Just all of the ones that we know about from legends and myths and things. I saw a lot of them on the planet Venus. And these would probably be more the ones who are quite feminine in their nature. So obviously there are some female goddesses, female deities or goddesses that seem a little bit more masculine in nature. Those aren't necessarily the ones I saw. I saw a lot of them gathered there. And so I asked, and what was told to me was that as the vibration of Gaia began to get lower and lower, these goddesses were unable to stay embodied or at least to dwell on Earth, but they still wanted to be close to Earth because they are very maternal. They have a lot of concern for what happens on the planet Earth, and they wanted to be nearby. And so they decided to dwell or at least locate themselves on Venus for the most part. And so, of course, they come and visit and they work with people on Earth, but they are dwelling on Venus, and that's what I saw. So if you are clairvoyant or you astral travel, I think it would be really cool for you to take a second and tap into that energy. Again, you might be able to do that as I bring through the activation that I'm going to bring through later, and you'll have to look for that video that I plan on publishing later this week. But that was just something kind of fun. Speaking of interdimensionals, this coming Sunday, I do have a really cool Pleiadian gathering planned. This is a soul family gathering. I have a Pleiadian gathering planned out, and they are always amazing. Pleiadians also have quite a compassionate, sort of a feminine energy, very soft and gentle, the ones that I work with. And if you are needing just to tap into that, if you feel connected to Pleiadians, check out the link below and you can join us in this virtual Zoom gathering. It's live, so you're going to see me channel live that energy. And who knows, maybe the Venusians will show up too, because I always feel like I try to label the soul family gatherings, and then whatever spirit brings through is what happens, and it's what everybody in that gathering needs. So I would love to have you there. All right, the second theme that I have is regarding some things I've learned a little bit more about integrating light codes and upgrades. Many of you who've been listening to me for a while know that a theme for me is DNA upgrades, light code upgrades, all of the things that are helping your physical and energetic body to bring in a higher vibration, right? So it's kind of been a sort of a passion of mine to help people best integrate light codes. Many of us learn about light codes, we want to receive them, but once we receive them, we forget that there's a process of integration that takes place. So I work with spirit really closely on how to best integrate those codes into your physical body. I set that intention as I do my different transmissions in light language, but I also do in each individual session make sure that I leave time for people's bodies to catch up to what the energy is and the integration part of that. And so as I was working with people this week, I had this really fascinating experience where I saw this integration, almost like two chemicals coming together to create a new chemical. It was almost like, I think this was in one of my soul integration sessions. But this could apply to any kind of integration of any energy. But it's like there's two chemicals coming together to do this reaction. And if you ever taken chemistry class, you kind of know sometimes there are these sort of undesirable byproducts. I mean, of course, that's what industrial waste is. And that's another subject for another day that's plaguing Gaia. But this idea of a byproduct occurring. And there are sometimes good byproducts, right? And then other times there are waste products, what you would call them. What happened is that spirit drew my attention to the fact that as people integrate different light codes and also soul aspects, that they need to be aware that sometimes there are byproducts that need to be quote unquote cleansed off or released after that process has taken place. So I want to invite all of you who are listening to this, if you feel like you've done a pretty good job of integrating light codes, you feel like you've received those upgrades over the last several weeks, whether you're listening to my different transmissions from different energies, or you listen to other people, or you just meditate on your own, or you're out in nature, you're receiving these things, pay attention after you do an integration and notice if you are guided or led to do kind of a release. That can look like a lot of things. Like you can simply just drink a lot of water. Sometimes you might want to stretch or move your body and set the intention that as you do so, you are releasing those byproducts. You can also just do it with intention of mind, where at the very end you say, okay, I now release. And you can imagine that release going out of the palms of your hands, out of the soles of your feet, out of your root chakra, wherever you feel like you need to release that from is what you can do. And it's powerful. Your intention is very powerful. So I just kind of, again, want to bring your attention to that. Make sure that you're being detail-oriented in these times of ascension energies. A lot of the physical symptoms that we're experiencing are just because we're a little bit novices at doing all of this. And so we're way showers. Like In 50 years, we're going to be able to teach all the people, all the young people, all about how to do all these things. But right now, it's kind of trial and error. It's kind of trial and error. And so that was just another thing that came to me that I thought would be interesting to share here on this episode. That being said, I also want to remind you that I have my 22nd of February, so 2/22/22, mini sessions coming up again. I did those on the 2nd of February. They were incredible. Oh my goodness, so powerful. I literally spend almost the entire 30 minutes taking you through a guided meditation to help integrate and calibrate your energy. And obviously, if I feel led to, I can include some of this cleansing. I've done it already with people, even though I don't really state that. I felt led by spirit to just do this cleansing of these byproducts. So if you feel led to do that, you can look at the link below again, and that's this 22nd of February when I'm doing that. Super powerful day is all those twos lined up, especially for those of you who feel like twos are your lucky number, right? All right, the third thing that I want to talk about, and the last thing that I want to talk about today, has to do with subconscious programming. I've had a lot of people come to me over the last couple of weeks, and I still feel like there is quite a bit of subconscious programming running around the planet, running around. And if you feel, I'm trying to sort of tap into what would help you know that there's subconscious programming going on. For those of you who are intuitive, you'll just know it immediately when I say it. Do you still have subconscious programming? And you're going to be like, oh yeah. Some of you just might feel like you have a block. A lot of people that have subconscious programming that couldn't label it as that, booked a session with me and came to me and said, I just have these block regarding XYZ. And as I tapped into them, spirit was like, bam, it's subconscious programming. Many of you know that I did at the beginning of the year a special transmission. I'm trying to remember what the energy was that I brought through, but it was a special transmission where we were assisted, and I believe it was Arcturians assisted us in that subconscious programming in the solar plexus. So you can go back and listen to those, but I also encourage you, if you feel like there's some subconscious programming, I've been working with Arcturians and Pleiadians specifically to help people reprogram parts of their subconscious that have been sort of bound by some of the lower dimensional energies, lower density energies of the planet. And these can be inherited, absolutely inherited. So those are just some things I want to draw your attention to. Different ways to release subconscious programming. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but intention is extremely powerful. So if you lay down to a meditation and you say, Arcturians, come help me out, I feel some subconscious programming surrounding this, or you just can say, if there's any subconscious programming that's not serving me at this time, I now release it and I reprogram to something that is for my greatest and highest good. And I ask the Arcturians to do it, or the Pleiadians, or angelics, whatever it is. I promise you, you have the power to do that. Now, sometimes it's fun to co-create, or it's helpful to co-create. So you can reach out to people you know that might do that work in person, or I would be happy to do it with you virtually if you want to book a session with me. It's something that is life-changing. Part of the subconscious programming that is so powerful is literally just bringing your attention to the fact that it exists. I have noticed such a shift in people's energy when I identify very specifically, because spirit just guides me and leads me, and their higher self does too, and says, tell them this is the subconscious program they have running. And as soon as I say it, every single time people are like, oh my goodness, yes, I have felt that in my life. Yes, that has been driving some of my decisions. I feel that. And so just knowing it, and even after you get done with the session, some people might slide back into that programming. But I feel like even in my own life, as I've worked through my subconscious programming, just recognizing it was the very first step to beginning to reprogram. So again, pay attention to that. Be aware of that. There are all kinds of ways to work through subconscious programming. Some of you journal. Journaling is a fabulous way to do it, especially if you kind of can do some automatic writing, which means just kind of intuitive writing about it, I promise you things will come up for you and you can work through it. You can absolutely work through it. So again, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Ascension School. I would love to connect with you at any of our upcoming Soul Family gatherings. They happen on Sundays, and then there is a Galactic Federation gathering one Saturday a month. Check them out. I promise you will love them. You will love them. They're so powerful. Or if you feel like connecting with me one-on-one, there's lots of different options. I do all kinds of different one-on-one sessions, and that's another great way to connect with me. So until then, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you co-creating with me. I am sending you so much love. I'm holding space for you right now. I'm holding space for you as you work through the upgrades and the integration and the subconscious reprogramming. I am absolutely feeling that and sending you the love and light that you need to work through it. And I honor the divine being that you are.